Good day to you. In the Bible, there are only two times we read that Jesus wept. One was over the death of his friend Lazarus. The other was over a city of Jerusalem, where he wept and said, "If only you knew the things that made for peace." I'm sure, like many of you, I've been tempted to weep these days as well. One over the death of a person who should be our friend, a fellow Christian, George Floyd. And I have to, when I think of that, not just weep, but be confessional, and be repentant of all the ways that as a white middle class American, that I might be complicit in the inequities and the inequalities that are so much a part of the racial issues in our country today. I also just as much weep over the cities of our country where there's such deep hurt and long-seated unrest that understandably it has led to peaceful protest among some and tragically unlawful rioting and looting among others. One is to be understood, the other is a shame that it happens, but may be understood. I've been thinking a lot these days about the biblical understanding of lament. Lament in the Bible is not just a bad day, but a deeper cry of the heart that things are not as such of what the kingdom is to be all about. I'm weeping these days, missing our church family. There's a deep lament for me with that. I realize church that I've done for 41 years as a pastor is not going to be the same. And I've been used to a certain kind of church. It challenges me. It can be a point of excitement, of a new day. But I miss my church family. I've never realized how important it is to have a community of faith. I also weep that over 106,000 people now in our country have died of this awful pandemic. Just months ago, everything seemed just so different. And now our whole world is in upheaval. And I weep over the racism and over the hurt that is so obvious in the inner cities and in every backyard and people in our church who realize that there's something that going on that is a deep-seated issue. It's not going to be turned around overnight. As one person in our church said to me, you cannot hate people and love God at the same time. So what do I say as your pastor? I talk to a lot of pastor friends. We all realize that in our hyper-politicized environment these days, no matter what we say, immediately it seems like a political statement. Tragic that that's the case. And so anything I might say, some are going to agree with, some disagree. I respect that. But I don't talk as a politician. I have never been a Republican or a Democrat. My identity, as you've heard me say so many times, is one thing and one thing only. I'm a beloved child of God. And so everything that I say comes hopefully out of one who is trying to follow the example of the one who is the Prince of Peace. I don't understand why you would hold up a Bible but not look inside a Bible. Otherwise, the Bible is just an ornament, which to me is a sacrilege of a holy word that God has given us. I want to read a couple of verses from what I say is my Bible. I got this Bible when I was a freshman in college. It's been with me ever since. It's just marked up all over. As I've said, there's a feeling of lament that I'm just dealing with, as I'm sure many of you are. There's times that my heart is just broken. The book of Lamentations, which I don't go to very often, and probably you don't either, it begins with some interesting words. It says, "How lonely sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow has she become, she that was great among the nations. She that was a princess among the cities has become a vessel." But do you know just a few chapters over in Lamentations, in this book where the person is just lamenting so much as we are these days, there nevertheless comes a wonderful verse. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. That's a word for us in the midst of lamentations. It's a word for us in the midst of the hurt and pain. Every morning, great is thy faithfulness. Here's what my Bible says, and here's what I long for and still want to believe the dream will one day come true. Blessed are the poor in spirit. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. My prayer is the same prayer that we pray every week in church. God, thy kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven. This past Sunday, as some of you recognize, I didn't say anything when you saw the recording of worship. There was a reason for that, because the service was actually recorded the previous Wednesday. It was amazing to me, and I couldn't miss the fact that from Wednesday night, when there was no reason at all to even give thought to it, to then just a few days later on Sunday morning, when everything in the world had seemed to change and turn upside down. Just that few days, how everything was suddenly so different. And my voice on Sunday, when you heard it, seemed to be absent of everything going on, because only a few days before I had actually preached that message. And of course, you might not be surprised. I immediately thought, something happened one time in our world on a Friday where it looked like everything was dark and defeated. And just a few days later, everything changed when Easter showed up. Our theme this year is Love Does. That's who we are. May we always be disciples, aspiring to live the way of Christ. This Christ who gave his life for everyone, so that we will always remember that all lives matter. Will you weep with me? Will you look forward to an Easter day? And have a good day today.